Hello, good afternoon, or whatever time it is, wherever you are. I'm here to show you how I do job searches, or at least a couple of ways that I do job searches, because there are a billion ways to do them. I'm going to walk you through what I do so that you can replicate some of these results on your own if you're interested. And let's just get into it because, content. All right, so I'm going to start with the easiest one first, which is there are places like Archinect and Dezeen and all these other like sort of blogs that are about design, and they have employment boards. And so if I go into employment and jobs, it's going to give me like right off the get like all of the jobs that are listed through this website. And so people pay money to put their jobs on this website. It's a separate fee that they pay, different from any other website. This is not an aggregator, it's just its own separate thing. And you'll see here that all of the listings are from all over the place. And so the sort of goal here, or at least what I like to do with this particular search, is I like to browse by either my state or country. So like if I know that I want to go to like New York, and this is a very coastally oriented listing service. You see a lot of like New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco type jobs. So if I wanted to, I'd go into here to New York, and it's going to give me just the New York jobs. If I type in city, country, or state, it's really important that when you do that, that you type in, like if I'm going to type in Houston, that I don't just hit enter really quickly. I need to choose it from the drop down. So like it won't work if you don't choose it from the drop down. They've got lots and lots of options here in this drop down for places. I didn't realize there were so many Houstons. You want to make sure that you choose the correct one and hit search. It'll give you like you can choose a radius if you want. I don't know that that's going to make any difference here, and you'll see some positions. This is definitely a place where you're going to see more of the educational positions, but I'll talk about some of the ways to do an educational job search in a little, maybe like in a different video, because it's a different process. So if I just go to the plain jobs thing and I'm looking through, I have the ability to filter by full-time, part-time, internship, contract work. But otherwise, it's pretty limited in terms of the filters. And I can search for keywords. So like it is possible for me to search for the word summer and see if I can bring up anything about summer. So anytime the word summer is listed in the posting, it's going to come up here. So if you're looking for an internship, that's the keyword I would be using. I would not be using the word intern because unfortunately for us, using the word intern brings us up potentially full-time positions for some of these places. It's really hard to tell. Interns use for both. So I like the word summer if I'm looking for summer work. So you'll see everything that comes up, all the cities. When I'm looking for the job listing emails that I do, I just go through these from top to bottom because I'm not looking for a specific location. I go through them top to bottom, and I just the things I'm looking for are obviously like sort of entry level jobs, and it's not always easy to tell because they'll say things like designer. And if I go in here, it says, oh, 2 years of experience. And sometimes I will include 2 years of experience, or you should consider 2 years of experience, particularly if you have substantial summer experience and you cover all these other things. So a lot of places are looking to not train you initially when you come in. They want you to have some job experience. And so that's why they put this. And some people will be open to the idea of hiring you if you don't have like a ton of formal continual job experience. Some people will not like it. Just know that's the potential reality of the situation. I always say trying to hit 75 to 80% of the job listing is super valuable. So I would go through here top to bottom. And I actually don't like to filter when I do job searches for people in their early career. I don't like to do job searches that way. I like to just look at what's available, because what'll start to happen is you'll see some places that have multiple listings. And if you've ever talked to me in person, you'll know that to me, multiple listings mean either a reorg or they mean that somebody's won a project and that they're trying to staff for the increased expected workload. And so it's feasible that these people could be also hiring summer interns. It's possible that they could be hiring juniors, or that they're open to the idea of juniors because they're increasing their workload. with internships especially, these cost money, like I said, and so it costs money for people to put these up on their website, so they oftentimes don't. If you can find places that have more than one listing, or it's a place that you really like, I think it's worth reaching out, even if you don't have an exact listing for the type of job and the qualifications that you have. That is my dog. All right, so moving on. I also love LinkedIn, if you can believe it. It does a fairly good job of utilizing filters to find exactly what you need. So if I search for the word summer again, and I choose the entire United States, it's going to give me everything in summer, including things that I maybe would not normally be looking for, like enterprise architects or, like anything. And so what I really like here is that under their filters, there's a filter for industry. And if I go down here, the filter for industry, I should see architecture and planning. It may not show up immediately, but if I start to type it, it will come up. And what's nice is there are a few now. There's accessible architecture and design as well, which is pretty cool. So I can show the 807 results. These are the United States wide results. The nice thing too is I can filter here by the date posted. So like Archinect, where you can see the date that they were posted, I can do the same thing here. And if I know I'm going to check once a week, I can check and have it filter for once a week. So this is going to start showing me all of the things that have summer in them, right? And it's an easy way for me to start to look at where there are available listed internships. I also really like that LinkedIn shows you, if you have your school listed on your LinkedIn profile, it shows you if there are alums working at the firm so that you can see if there's anybody that you could reach out to and network with in order to get an introduction to the company or potentially a referral, an interior or internal referral. It's really great. So I can go through here and I can look at what's available as well. Same thing with architecture formal jobs. All I'm doing, let's see if it worked. Yeah. All I'm doing is removing any search term here. So I'm leaving it completely empty on LinkedIn. I'm choosing my city and I'm choosing my industry as architecture, and it's going to bring me up every single job listing for architecture. And I'll do the same thing, which is to go through here and say, oh, maybe it's not a senior project architect, obviously, but because the entry level jobs have so many different search phrases, it's really hard to pick a keyword to look for. And so you might use the word designer, it might be intern architect, it may be junior designer, it may be junior job captain or job captain. It's so hard to tell. Everybody uses a different thing. And so I like to keep the search nice and wide and just scroll through the things I'm not interested in so that I don't miss the things I am interested in. So that's another way to do this. And these are obviously like very passive versions of looking for internships or employment. This is responding to what's actively on the job market. So the other thing that you can do is you can, if you are connected to me, you can go through my connections, or you can even go up to your own network, or you can just do a search. And I'm just hitting the enter. And if I go over here and I go to people, this is showing me people. And I don't know how many of these searches you guys can do if you don't have the LinkedIn Premium, but what I can do in here at least, and hopefully you can too, is I can go through and I can select for Rice University and I can select for the architecture and planning industry. And this will show me not just my connections, but anyone that's been to Rice who's working in architecture and planning currently. And what's great about this is, for instance, if I know that I want to look for a location, say in New York City, this will bring me up all the alums in New York City who are working in architecture, right? And what's cool about this is you can go into their profiles and you can see where they're working. A lot of them will list it at the top in their like headline or whatever they call this. But you can see all these different firms that people are working at, and it'll help you give your list a little bit of extra firms to look at, and people that you could reach out to and say, hey, what's this firm like? And what's your experience like? And, what do I need to do to be competitive here? That can be really useful. The other thing you can do is if I go to like the AIA New York, You can look at under their resources, I think there's a firm directory. And I can go in here and filter for categories. So if I really want to do cultural work in New York this summer, I can see all the firms that list as being cultural architecture firms. So I can go through here and say, oh, maybe it's this one, maybe it's that one. If you click in through them, they'll give you like their little profile and show some of their work. And so you can kind of shop these firms this way. Different cities have different levels of resources when it comes to this. The other thing that a lot of these AIA websites have for the different cities is they have their own job board or their own career center, and it'll show. These are usually different listings than what you see on like LinkedIn or Archinect. These are usually folks who are a little bit more that are a little bit more involved with like their local AIA office. They're not as like maybe plugged into the design stuff, or they don't want to pay the money for Archinect or LinkedIn. They might just do it through their local AIA. The AIA Career Center website will let you search for everybody, every city, but you can also, if you go up here, you can filter for your location or your category as well. So if I go down here and I pick Texas, do that, hit search, you're going to see, oh, look, the city of Houston is looking for an architect. That's exciting. What are the requirements? 6 years. Not for us, guys. And then you can see some of the others that are nearby and what they're looking for. And so they're different listings usually than what you'll find other places. So, and then obviously you're constantly exposed at school to lectures and references to firms. And of course, you know, looking at those is a great way to start. And I always encourage you to reach out and apply to those firms that interest you, because you never know. You never know who's going to be the one to hire you or who's going to resonate with you, or like, you know, those opportunities come up every single year. People get really cool internships that they thought weren't possible because they just tried and applied. And so I recommend that you reach out to the places you really love and you give it a shot, and you see what happens, because, you know, the world's crazy. Cool things happen all the time, and they won't happen unless you try, right? So that's if you can believe it, that's the quick version of doing some of those listing searches, so that you're not just staring at a Google page and wondering what's wrong. That's meant some of the many ways that I do it. And if you guys have questions, obviously reach out to me anytime.